Hi, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited about the fabric that I'm going to be working with for this project, so let's get right into it. So this is a 100% cotton gauze from Blackbird Fabrics. Unfortunately, it is already sold out, which I was so worried was going to happen. I have never stocked a fabric before, but Blackbird Fabrics had posted a little teaser of this fabric in May, and then they posted like 2 more teasers, and I was just like, when is this fabric gonna drop? I was literally refreshing their page because I just knew I had to get my hands on this fabric. There is something about it that reminds me of a lungi. If you are Bengali or a Desi, maybe you know what I mean. This plaid is just so beautiful and just super vibrant. I was just so excited when I finally saw this on the website, and I literally ordered it like within minutes of it going live. Actually, I remember that they hadn't even announced that these had dropped on their Instagram stories, so that's how quick I was to go ahead and order this. I don't know, there's something like nostalgic about it, and it just, looking at the fabric brings me so much happiness. So yeah, I've never felt this way about a fabric before, but I'm so glad that I was able to order it. Actually, I kind of have my fingers crossed that Blackbird Fabrics will do a restock of this fabric. I don't know if they will, but I would love to get a little bit more of it because I think I need a whole wardrobe of this fabric, honestly. Like I said in a couple other videos, I have been on a quest to sew for my own personal style more, and I've been craving more color in my wardrobe. So I know that I need to make a pair of pants in this fabric because I have been wearing this pair of pants literally all summer long. It's just a cotton linen elastic pant from Old Navy, but it's gotten to the point where I wear this multiple times within a week. And it's really just because this is the most breathable and comfortable pair of pants that I own. I'm loving an elastic waist pant these days, and I need like 5 more. Which brings me to the pattern that I'm going to use today. It is a pretty popular pattern and everyone's creations look so good, so I'm really excited to sew it up. It is, of course, the Lane Pants by Sydney Graham. They look so good. It looks like the fit is really perfected, and they look pretty similar to these Old Navy pants. The key differences being that the Old Navy pair of pants has a drawstring inside the waistband, and it also has back pockets. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I did briefly think about just cloning these Old Navy pants, but the Lane pants look like they have such a great fit, and if I clone these pants, I would want to go through multiple fit rounds. And seeing as how I struggled with the fit of the brown pants in my previous video, I'm not really excited by the prospect of doing that right now. So I'm really excited to just have a quick and easy pattern to implement, and considering how much I wore these pants, I'm really glad that I bought the Lane pants because I could see myself making so many more pairs of them, and they'll just fit so nicely into my wardrobe. I have already cut out my pattern pieces just so you know the measurements that I was working with. I measured my waist at 31 inches and I measured my hips at 37 inches. So I went ahead and cut a size 4, but with my measurements, it looks like I'm a size 10. But I went ahead and looked at the finished garment measurements, and it looks like there is so much ease in the pants that I think a size 4 will work. I think for me, if this doesn't fit quite right, it'll be easier for me to size up from a size 4 rather than trim down from a size 10, which just might be overall too big for me everywhere, whereas the size 4 might be too small for me just in the waist, so we'll see. I was also measuring the pattern against these Old Navy pants, and they look pretty similar in the pant leg width, so I feel pretty confident about picking a size 4, but I still want to make a muslin because I want to get all those fit corrections done in a muslin before I cut into this really nice fabric, because this fabric is quite expensive and I only have 2 meters of it, which is actually less than the pattern suggests I buy for these pants, but I'm hoping it'll work out. Only adjustment I have made so far is I went ahead and took 3.5 inches out of the length just as a good starting point. I still think that they might end up being a little too long for me, but I would prefer the pants end up too long for me than too short, so that's why I went with a healthy 3.5 inches. Another thing I should mention for these pants is I will not be doing the cargo pocket, but I will be doing the drawstring, but I think I want to try to put it in the inside of the pants, similar to how the Old Navy pants are. And if I do have a little bit extra fabric, I might make the back pockets similar to the Old Navy pants. Another thing I'm a little afraid of is this fabric is actually a little bit thin. So I hope that it won't be completely see-through. If it does end up see-through, I will order some cotton lining, but I don't want to order it unless I have to. And then one last note about the fabric. I did go ahead and pre-wash it. And then because it is a gauze, I just lightly ironed it with a low setting so that it laid a little bit more flat, because when it dried, it scrunched up together even more than what it looked like before. On the selvage here is where it's scrunching the most. So I hope it'll be okay. Anyway, let me go ahead and cut out my pieces for my muslin. And yeah, I'm really excited to see how this turns out. Hey, it is Monday, and where I last dropped off was on Friday afternoon when I was working on my first muslin for the lane pants. And I kind of stopped filming because it wasn't really going exactly how I would hope. That first muslin did not fit me great. Honestly, I was really bummed about that because so many people have shown how their lane pants have fit them basically with like no alterations other than maybe length. And that just wasn't the case for me. It kind of got me in like a bad headspace. So that's kind of why I dropped off on filming. And I was talking about my Old Navy pants from before that fit me great. And I was noticing that the back crotch length on the Old Navy pants is way longer than on the lane pants. So I think that is the issue that I'm facing. The front rise I didn't have a problem with. It's really just the back rise I think that is the issue. And this past weekend I actually had a pretty free weekend, and I told myself that I didn't want to work because I have gotten into this kind of bad habit of editing on the weekends, but I just could not get this pant fitting adjustment out of my head. So I was kind of playing around with the pattern over the weekend and doing a lot of research into pant fitting because this just seems to be a problem that I keep running into. And I came across a great series of videos talking about top down, center out, which is a method for fitting your pants pattern. And the method just seems like it will click for me. I haven't tried it yet, but it seems right up my alley. This method of pant fitting feels more like draping to me. And sometimes I feel like just straight pattern making feels like theory, whereas draping feels like the practice. At least that's how my brain works and thinks about these things. And so I'm really excited to try this method out. Another thing I really like about the method is it promotes body neutrality. To be honest, I am not someone who typically struggles with body image issues, but when you run into problems like this, it's really easy to get in that headspace of like, why does my body not fit in this pattern where it's fitting on everyone else? Like, it's just not a good place to be in mentally. And so I'm very grateful that I don't struggle with body image issues because I feel like this could have hit me a lot harder than it did. And I already kind of feel like it made me pretty disappointed and just generally bummed. So anyway, I will link down below the playlist of videos from the Crooked Hem where she is talking about top down, center out, and the whole method of how to use this to do pant fitting adjustments. So the way that top down, center out works is you just make half of the pant leg, and then you can really see how your body is fitting inside those pants, and it just seems like it'll work out so much better for me. I also really like this method because it kind of saves you some time and fabric because you're just making a half pant leg of the toile. I don't know why this has never occurred to me before, but it just seems so genius. I know I'm raving so much about this method even though I haven't tried it, but another thing that I think is genius about this method is you make the toile once, you do all your fit adjustments, and then it should work from there. You should only have to make your adjustments once instead of making pattern revisions, then making another muslin, then making pattern adjustments, and then making another muslin, and like just wasting all your time that way. So I really do feel like this is pretty genius, and I think this will help me so much just long term in pants fitting, because that is something that is always a little tricky. So yeah, I'm really excited to try this method. For now with the Lane pants, I have only adjusted the back pants pattern to be more similar to the Old Navy pants, because I know I like how those fit. But I'm gonna make a full new toile and use the top down center out method, and I think that utilizing this method to fit my toile will help me and hopefully be the last time I make corrections to this pattern. So yeah, I'm really excited to get into it. Honestly, on Friday I was speed sewing through my muslin because I was so sure that I was gonna have no fit issues, so I didn't even do a good job like pressing and just doing all the things you're supposed to do for a muslin. So this time I'm really determined to take my time and make a really solid toile so that I can proceed to my rainbow fabric, because I am really excited to see how that will turn out. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and make my muslin, and fingers crossed that this goes way better. I think it will. I think this will be good. Hey, it's Editing Nabila here, and I just wanted to pop in while I'm cutting the second toile in the background and say that I had an unrealistic expectation of the Lane pants fitting perfect right out of the box, so I think I was being a little bit dramatic in that last clip. I certainly don't want anyone coming away from this video thinking that this is not a good pattern, because it really is a great pattern. It would be impossible for all home sewing patterns to fit you perfectly with no adjustments, just like with ready-made clothes. And I knew that the waist might not fit me because of the size chart, but I felt like the first muslin was too tight in the hips, and I think that just hit me a little bit harder than usual because I struggled so much with my last pair of self-drafted pants. I just wanted to include that note since I'm a little bit more clear-minded now. Okay, back to the video. Okay, I just completed my first top-down center-out fitting, and my first impression is it felt too easy. So I don't know, it's making me question if it's like correct, because it was just so simple and I don't know, just kind of intuitive. I don't know if it felt intuitive to me because I really enjoy draping, but yeah, so far I really think this method is for me. So the last thing I need to do for the top down center out method is baste my changes to my waistband just to double check everything, but it's a little late in the day, so I think I'm going to do that tomorrow. So yeah, I'll see you then. I didn't feel comfortable filming the fitting, as you need to do that in your undergarments to get an accurate fit, but I wanted to show you what the fitting basically looked like while I was wearing biker shorts. Everything in top down center out starts with the waistband, which makes so much sense to me as the waistband is really the foundation of the pants. Then you fit your toile with ample seam allowance on all sides so that as you fit your pant leg, you can add or remove from the seams as you need. Cutting a half pant leg really allows you to see how the saddle is fitting, and since nothing is stitched down at first, you can really shift the fabric however you might need. When I was actually fitting this, I used 2 mirrors to see the front and back, but when I was filming this, I couldn't tell that the center back had shifted outwards, so you can just disregard that part. But overall, this is what a fitting in top down center out looks like, and I just think it is so genius, and I'm so glad that I found this method. Good morning. I had a little bit of pumpkin spice in my coffee this morning, so I was really feeling the fall vibes, but honestly, kind of burning up, so if you see me change tops for the day, that is probably why. But anyway, I have been working for a little bit, and I did baste my adjustments from yesterday just to double check if I like them, and I am so glad that I went ahead and did that, because in basting my adjustments, I really could see clearly that I needed to take about an inch off of the back rise. It looks like it's fitting really good now, and I might walk through the exact pattern adjustments later in this video, but for right now I need to transfer my adjustments to my pattern just so I can see them all laid out clearly. And then I might get into cutting my fabric today, which is right back there. I am so excited to do that. But yeah, using the top down center out method has helped me so much in understanding how the pants should fit. And actually I've been watching more of the videos because it's a whole series, it's almost like a class. And the way that you are supposed to go about fitting your pattern is using the designer's original intent. And I will say that I did go ahead and use more of the curve from the Old Navy pants than what the Lane pants originally had. And I kind of wish I had not done that and seen how the Lane pants fit just using the top down center out method and not using the Old Navy curve. But I had already done the work to print out the new pattern with more of that Old Navy curve. But when I was comparing my adjustments from the Old Navy pants to the Lane pants, actually they weren't that crazy far off. Actually, this is convincing me that I'm going to just go in depth with the pattern adjustments just so you can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm overall really happy with the fit, and I am so glad I went ahead and did this method because I think I'm going to be really happy with the final product. At least I hope so. I did also go ahead and remove 2 inches off of the pant length. So I think I will have enough fabric. I can already tell that I'm gonna spend a lot of time laying out the pattern and possibly print matching. So yeah, I can't waste time yapping to the camera. Let me get started. I started off testing the configuration of my pattern pieces on the fabric folded in half, but in order to make the best use of my fabric, I realized that folding my fabric by just 1/3 would work better. I also wanted to point out that I intentionally cut my waistband cross grain because I wanted a certain part of the plaid pattern. Good morning. So today is the day that I'm finally going to be able to work with this beautiful fabric, and I'm so excited, but I'm also kind of nervous like I always am when I'm about to cut into the real fabric. But actually I shouldn't feel nervous because I spent probably a couple hours laying all my pattern pieces really strategically to try to pattern match as best as possible. So this is an asymmetric plaid, meaning I can't mirror the pattern pieces perfectly, but I am going based on the blue stripe because my eye really gravitates towards that. Basically, I have folded over my fabric so that the blue stripes are matching and just made sure that the blue stripe is gonna be similar for each leg. It is more or less in the middle for the front piece. I couldn't get the spacing exactly centered on the back pattern pieces, but they're more or less going to be the same on each side. So yeah, I really wish I had bought more fabric when this was still in stock, because when you are pattern matching, you're just gonna use so much fabric because you want to place your pattern strategically. So there is going to be a little bit more fabric that basically can't get used because it would look off in the final garment. And I really wanted originally to use the blue and red stripe in the pattern for my waistband, but actually with the way that the patterns are all laid out, that would not be possible without wasting a lot more fabric and potentially not having enough fabric. So I am actually going to use the pink and yellow stripe instead for my waistband, and I think that's going to actually look fine too. I am just a little bit disappointed because I had my heart set on the blue and red piece for the waistband, but ultimately it's not a big deal. I'm really glad I did the full length of the pant for my second toile because I had even more information on how much I should shorten my pant pattern, and now I have it at, I think, pretty much the correct length. And I'm especially glad I did that and didn't just wait until the M to possibly rehem it, because I am saving a little bit more fabric that way, and I possibly wouldn't have enough fabric for the waistband had I not done that. So yeah, all things considered, I do have the right amount of fabric. I just wish that I had just a little bit more so I could have the waistband exactly where I wanted it. If Blackbird Fabrics restocks that fabric, I am kind of tempted to buy a half meter just to redo the waistband. Maybe that's a little bit crazy, but I think that would make the pants even more special. But I mean, I'm saying that and I haven't even seen the final garment, so maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here. But yeah, let me go ahead and get into cutting this fabric so I can get into sewing, because I'm really excited to see what the pants will look like at the end. So I better get started. Okay, I just finished cutting out all my fabric and had a bit of lunch, and now I'm ready to sit down and sew. And since on this fabric, it's kind of hard to tell the right side and the wrong side, I think I'm going to try to use a little bit of painter's tape on the wrong side just to keep track of everything. I saw someone post about how this was a hack to keep your right and wrong sides straight, and I have mentioned on this channel that I usually put a pin or I'll use some chalk to just mark the wrong side. But for this fabric, I don't think either method would work very well, because with the loose weave, I might lose my pin. And with the chalk, I don't think it'll be that visible. So I'm gonna try this today. Okay, I went ahead and put the instructions on my iPad because I don't know, it just feels nicer on my iPad. So I'm about to start sewing. The first step is to go ahead and finish and attach the pockets. So that's what I'll be doing. But yeah, I'm not gonna go through every single instruction here because Sydney Graham already has an awesome tutorial. The written instructions are fine for me, but I will mention if I decide to differ from any of the instructions that are laid out for me here. But yeah, let's get to sewing. Okay, it's been a full afternoon of sewing and the pants are looking great. I am really happy with the fit. I think that all I have left to do is top stitch the waistband, make the drawstring, and hem the pants. So there should be no surprises there. I'm not sure how much of that I will film. Maybe just the top stitching, because I think I'll be using my Burnett machine. But yeah, I'll show you what it looks like when it's all done tomorrow. Here are my finished Lane pants. I am so excited about them. They are just so cute. I just love the plaid. And please excuse the drastic difference in hair color. I just got my hair done this morning. But before I wrap up this video, real quick, I wanted to go into the pattern adjustments that I made. So I did lengthen the center front rise by 3/4, and at the side seam I raised it just a 1/2 inch. And then I don't want to make it sound like I completely redrafted the back, because that is not at all what I did, but I did compare the Old Navy back pattern piece to the lane pant pattern piece, and I noticed that if I use the original lane pants and just tilted the hip line up by about an inch, then it was pretty similar. It's just that bottom curve that was a little different. Actually, I kind of wonder if the original piece of that pattern from the lane pant would have worked better. So when I make another lane pant, I think I will actually go with what the designer had intended, just to see how that fit is a little different, and actually I might like it better. And also from the back pattern piece, I removed an inch from the center back rise, which ended up being about a quarter from the original lane pants. And while I was writing these notes, I realized that I didn't change the back panel's side seam, so I don't know why the back piece and the front piece lined up. I think maybe it's because I did adjust the pocket, and maybe the pocket actually ended up having a little bit more room to go outwards. I'm not really sure what happened there, but I know I didn't change the back side seam piece, so keep that in mind if you use any of these measurements to make your own adjustments. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed the pattern. It was so satisfying to put together. Pants are kind of an intimidating thing to put together when you're learning how to sew. So I really appreciate how Sydney Graham has laid out all the instructions, and I can just see how this could be a really satisfying project for a beginner sewist. I love how the pants have a really thick hem because it gives the legs so much structure, and it just makes it feel like a more like high quality garment. So yeah, I really love that detail. If I had tried to draft my own version from my old navy pants, I probably would not have thought to add that detail, so I just thought that was a really nice touch. I don't have a lot of fabric left, but I do have enough to add back pockets if I want to. I haven't done that yet, but I'm still kind of thinking about it, and I probably will a little bit later when I'm ready to get my sewing room messy again. I just feel like the back pockets in my old navy pants make it look a little bit more finished in the back. And also the hero of this whole project was top down, center out. I am so glad that I found that method for fitting pants. If it weren't for this project, I don't know if I would have found it. But yeah, I think this will help me so much. I'm really excited to dive into my next pair of pants actually, because I want to use this method again. I am so grateful that I found that method. So yeah, I might make a whole video talking about why it's so great, but I will definitely link the playlist down below that explains the whole method. It's really like a class. I think it's explained so well for anyone of really any sewing level. Yeah, I just feel like I leveled up my pants fitting skills even further. So that's really awesome, and I feel really accomplished with that. And I feel really excited for my next pair of pants, which is actually surprising considering that my last pants project left me feeling a little bit defeated. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and cut over to the footage of me showing you the lane pants on, but I'll see you in the next video. Bye.